Per reports, the Pittsburgh Steelers have inquired with superstar cornerbacks Jaire Alexander and Jalen Ramsey. So, Jalen Ramsey, he's holding out of the Miami Dolphins camp, and he wants to be traded, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are interested. Also, Jaire Alexander, he was just released by the Green Bay Packers, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are one of the teams, per sources, that are interested in adding him and have tried trading for him in years past. But first, before I get more into it, however, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news and updates. Also like this video. Now, let's get right back into it. So, this report that has come out is by the same person who broke the DK Metcalf trade to the Pittsburgh Steelers a whole day before any other reporter or insider said anything about it. The trade that came out of nowhere, DK Metcalf to the Steelers. And his name is Slick Ricky. So, he says that the Pittsburgh Steelers have inquired about both Jaire Alexander and Jalen Ramsey. And he's expecting the Steelers to acquire one of them. Omar Khan is cooking. So, when you get a report like this and it's not finalized, it's not a done deal, you have to take it with a grain of salt. But because he broke the DK Metcalf trade, let's just read a little bit into this and say why the Pittsburgh Steelers may be interested in these guys at the cornerback position. And we can start off with Jalen Ramsey. And when you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers defense, it's going to be one of, if not the best defenses in the NFL next season. But their biggest hole on that unit at the moment is definitely nickel cornerback. And with all due respect to Beanie Bishop Jr., Jalen Ramsey has thrived as a nickel player going back to his Rams days, and adding him to his defense, this defense would give this year's unit a chance to truly be a special group. Another thing is Ramsey would be pretty affordable in a trade, and he would probably be a day 3 draft pick because of his contract and because he's holding out and he wants to be gone and he has leverage in the situation. So you could probably project the Steelers could afford to get Jalen Ramsey for early to midday 3rd round pick and most likely a 5th rounder, in which Pittsburgh has a number of in the 2026 NFL draft. So Ramsey is rather expensive as a player, $21 million for this year, with no guaranteed money left on his deal after this season. So if the Steelers get Jalen Ramsey and then want to cut him down the road, they could do so and save a lot of money. But Ramsey, he would bring a cap hit of $17 million, and the Steelers still have a lot of cap space left for the season and can restructure things, sign a contract to make it get even higher. So, when you look at the situation and why they would get him, it makes perfect sense. He's still only 30 years old, and he's a player who can transition to a different position if they need him to play so. For example, he can play outside cornerback. He's done so at a high level. But like I said, he started off as a nickel cornerback with the Rams, and he played really good there. So the Steelers need a nickel cornerback because they already have 2 outside cornerbacks in Darius Slay and in Joey Porter Jr., so he can play the nickel. And out of the 2 between Jaire Alexander and himself, he will be projected to be a nickel cornerback on the Pittsburgh Steelers because he can do it. And like I said, he can transition to a safety position later on in his career because his instincts and hands and football IQ is really good. And he gets interceptions. We all remember him intercepting Big Ben a lot whenever the Steelers played Jacksonville. So you look at the Pittsburgh Steelers and this fit makes complete sense from a money perspective and just football on the field perspective as well. And the Pittsburgh Steelers have always been in the rumors and mix for him as well, going back many years. So enough with him. But would I want him on this team? Yes, he could be really good for a few more years, and it seems as though the Pittsburgh Steelers don't care about age at the cornerback position because they just signed Darius Slay to a contract and he's over 35 years old. So Jalen Ramsey can be an amazing fit and can move all around this defense and be a Swiss Army knife. So if they could get him for a day 3 draft pick, then yes, I would do it. So let's move over to Jaire Alexander, however, because Jaire Alexander is a different different story. This is someone who the Pittsburgh Steelers have had interest in for many years. There have always been rumors about whenever Jaire Alexander's name has been brought up on the trade block that the Steelers are going to trade for him. And that's because the Steelers needed an outside cornerback. They needed someone who's young, who's a superstar, and he fit the bill. And Jaire Alexander is a really good player and has been a really good player in the NFL. The only thing now, and probably the reason why he got cut, is because he was making a lot of money and he was injury prone, playing only 7 games in back-to-back seasons. So if he's able to get it together, not be unhealthy, and be healthy and not get injured, then the Pittsburgh Steelers would get a steal if they were to sign Jaire Alexander. And me personally, would I want him on this team? Yes. Because just because you have Darius Slay on this team doesn't mean you can't go out and sign a player of Jaire Alexander's capability. He's a superstar in this league. And if you could get him on an up to $10 million contract, that would be a steal. And he still has many more years of play ahead, being only 28 years old. So if Darius Slay is projected to retire next season, then you have to go out and make that move for Jaire. Because 1 year isn't the same as having Jaire for the next 3+ years. So you would have to make the move. But the reason why the fit doesn't work, and some people are questioning that, is because none of these guys are nickel cornerbacks. And that means you would have 3 outside cornerbacks. But I'm sure the Pittsburgh Steelers can make it work. And you can never have enough talent on the roster. So making this move makes sense in terms of adding another superstar lockdown player next to Joey Porter Jr. But in terms of the fits, one of these guys would have to move over to nickel cornerback for a season. And to be honest, Darius Slay would fit that bill because he's in the final year of retirement until he's going to retirement. And he can do it a little bit. He hasn't really done it a lot, but he's done it more than other guys. And if I'm being completely honest, between the two, when comparing who would I rather have more, Jaire or Jaylen, I'd rather have Alexander. Because when you look at him compared to Ramsey on the actual film, it seems as though he's a lockdown player still. But Jalen Ramsey's a guy who's getting beaten. He's getting slower and slower, and is getting more beaten off the line of scrimmage. He's allowing his man to be more open than Jaire Alexander. So in terms of the actual film and what they could do at the position still, Jaire Alexander still seems as though he has a lot more left in him than Jalen Ramsey does. But Jalen Ramsey is looked at as a better cornerback because of his name, because of what he's done in his career, and because of his interceptions and things of that nature. But in terms of actually guarding your player and locking them up, Jaire Alexander is still steps ahead of Jalen Ramsey, in my opinion. But it is what it is. This was the report. The Pittsburgh Steelers have inquired about Jalen Ramsey in a trade and have inquired about Jaire Alexander and adding him in free agency. And now we wait. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been unordinary in terms of making moves since Omar Khan has took over, and even in this offseason, they've gone out and signed Aaron Rodgers. They've gone out and traded for DK Metcalf and then give him a $30 million contract. They've signed Patrick Queen last season to the biggest free agency contract we've ever seen the Steelers hand out. We've seen them go and sign a 36-year-old cornerback in Darius Slay. So we've seen them be linked and get players unordinary to who the Steelers usually target, and this could be another move in the making with either Jalen Ramsey or Jaire Alexander being a Pittsburgh Steelers, because apparently, like I said, they've inquired about them. But will the Pittsburgh Steelers add to the cornerback group, add to the group this season, and make a push for the Super Bowl? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And between the two, who would you want? Would you want Jalen Ramsey? Would you want Jaire Alexander? Or do you not want any of them? Or do you want both of them? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. And who would be the best fit for this team for the long run. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn notifications for everything Pittsburgh Steelers news, updates, highlights, analysis, reports. Everything surrounding this team, I've covered it this offseason, including the whole highlights of camp. They're on the channel with analysis. Every new player we added, every rumor is on the channel. So go ahead and check it out. I'll continue doing so as we move forward in the offseason. So stay tuned, like, comment, and subscribe to notifications for this channel. And until the next video, I'll see you guys all later. That's it for me. I'm out. Peace.